It finally happened! Last night, 11 p.m. EST, at Adepticon, we finally got the reveal we have been waiting and predicting for years. The Lion is back, baby. Oh, man. I was watching it live on Valor's stream. I was there when he broke 9k viewers. We saw the reveal of the Lion. They just dropped it right at the very beginning. Holy shit. Now, when Robute Guilliman returned, his new model had the new armor of ages that he's been wearing, and now Lion is aged. He looks so old. That's one thing we all completely forgot, is that Guilliman was in a stasis field, but Lion has just been lying on a stone slab out in the open in the middle of the rock. He has aged, and like his hairline has receded. He actually has a ponytail now, a little ponytail. He also has some awesome helmet options. You know, his face is wrinkled. Man, this was so cool to see live. And as we expected, we got the quote-unquote secret 5th Arcs of Omen books titled The Lion. We also got a lot of really interesting lore information regarding the Lion. He now has the Emperor's shield with him. It's a small shield, it's not that big, but it's the Emperor, so I imagine it's going to do some great stuff. And we know he is going to be the one to confront Angron. I actually had predicted this back with the Arcs of Omen tarot cards, though I hadn't said it publicly, unfortunately, so I do have no proof, that he was going to fight Angron because in the card, the Knight in the card is facing off against a giant demonic wolf thing, and anything wolf or hound related is always related to Angron because he is known as the Hound. We also have the quote underneath his picture. I will teach them to fear the darkness in which they dwell, and to dread the shadows they believe their allies. For there is no greater terror hiding in the Stygian void than the Lion of Caliban. Oh, so cool. Yeah, I'm geeking out. I'll admit it. I'm geeking out hard. Big news for Dark Angels players, guys. I can imagine his models are going to be flying off the shelves. They look absolutely stunning. The presentation was a lot of fun. Big implications for the lore. I can't wait to see where it goes. I also do believe, because we have gotten hints of a quote-unquote Star Child-like Emperor-related entity in the Dawn of Fire series, so I do believe that tarot card, the Star, will be related to maybe the Star Child helping rouse Lion from his slumber. And also, the card, the Lost Child is, you know, just Lion lost in the forest as a baby, and the Galaxy Inversed shows the galaxy just generally turned on its head. Now, in regards to the Lion having the Emperor's shield, I do believe that will be what helps him defeat Angron in battle, because as we know, Angron is strong enough to literally crack planets with the aid of corn when he's really angry. I think that shield could help deflect that blow. Another thing that's going to be super interesting is seeing how the Lion and Guilliman interact after all this time. Guilliman has always really admired the Lion, that's something he's openly admitted, but, you know, they do have their own rocky history, Guilliman breaking the Lion's sword and banishing him from Imperium Secundus, that sort of thing. And an interesting thing about him having the Emperor's shield is that people have been speculating, what about the rest of the Emperor's war gear? Russ has his spear, Valdor has his other spear, Guilliman has his sword, now Lion has his shield. There's also the Emperor's lightning claw and the Emperor's bolter to be accounted for. So someone joked on Valrek's stream that it should be Dorn who gets the lightning claw to replace his severed hand. That would be so cool. And while recording this, I just realized, I was confused since the Emperor never really carried a shield in combat, but now I realized it's his tilting shield. You know that little shield he wears on his shoulder? That sort of thing was actually used by knights in jousting back in the day. That's what that is. That's, again, just such a really cool detail and was a total surprise to me. Another big thing to remember is that Luther is also missing. We've seen a lot of Dark Angels gathering into what could potentially be a full-fledged army, this was said earlier on, and Luther's body vanished from the rock when the Great Rift opened. So there's no way we're not going to get a confrontation between those two old friends. God knows what's going to happen. Cypher's book recently just came out. We need to see how he's going to play into this. There's so many big things happening in the Dark Angels camp. It's going to be so cool, guys. Furthermore, at Adepticon this year, we also got the big reveal of 10th edition 40k. And what that's going to deal with, narratively speaking, is having the Lion fight Angron and wrap up the Arcs of Omen, which will basically wrap up the 13th Black Crusade and everything that's been going on there. God knows, maybe we can finally move on to a number other than 13. They've just been so attached to the number 13 because it sounds cool and ominous. The big thing for the 10th edition is going to be the 4th Tyrannic War. If you remember from the first 3 Tyrannic Wars, first there was the invasion of Macragge from the Eastern Fringe after the fall of Tyrannus. Then there was, in the second war, the fall of Sotha and Liandon and a lot of Genestealer uprisings, and the third one saw the massive devastation of Baal. This fourth one, though, is not coming from the Eastern Fringe. This is coming from the Segmentum Pacifica, which is pretty damn close to Terra. Nowhere in the galaxy is truly safe from the Tyranid fringes. This is supposed to be another tendril of Hive Fleet Leviathan, basically wrapping its jaws around the galaxy. Big stuff there. I know Tyranid players are going to be getting some awesome new models. We did get some previews of some lictors. They look great. That's awesome. They also state that in 10th edition, the game is going to be simplified, but not simple. It's going to be streamlined. They had a lot of unnecessary things gotten rid of. They've made it so that the game feels less like apparently playing math at each other and more actually strategizing. I know a lot of people complained about 9th edition. I'm not a tabletop player, so I wouldn't know, but they said it was really bloated. They said 9th edition was very complicated, so I guess this will be some stuff that a lot of people have been hoping for and been asking for. Also, a lot of index rules and datasheets available day one online for free, which is great, so you can really jump right into 10th edition. One thing they also said was that you can now bring 6 stratagems with you when you start the game, as opposed to the 20 everyone had in their codex, which a lot of people found so frustrating because they felt they were getting screwed every single game just because they didn't memorize all 20 possible stratagems that their enemy could bring. It made things so difficult and tedious. And it's going to be more focused on using those stratagems over the course of the game, as opposed to just dumping all of your CP in phase 1 and hoping that carries you to the end of the game. So that's good too. Also, the psychic and morale phases are just gone, like completely gone. You see, the psychic phase is now broken up into whatever phase is more appropriate depending on the psychic ability. Some more offensive spells are going to be in the shooting phase, while some more status ones like shields or buffs are going to be in the command phase. Again, an attempt to further streamline the whole experience while making sure that a lot of aspects are not unnecessarily stripped away or stripped down, which again normally is something I'm suspicious of in these sorts of things, but since 9th edition was considered so bloated and difficult and clunky, I guess it is a good decision. Hopefully this will be the edition where I start buying tabletop models, but hey, who knows. There also seems to be a bit of a push to promote army diversity, meaning that when you have a command unit like, say, Harlequin Shadowseer or something like that, their abilities are sort of like one use, where the army itself can use the ability once, and then having multiple instances of those units are gonna not be as effective, because yeah, they'll still have their good normal stats, but the abilities won't be there. So that sort of puts forward the idea that people need to experiment and mix and match with the units they bring, as opposed to just spamming a lot of one certain high command unit. They've also reworked toughness. I think a lot of vehicles are now tougher, meaning there's going to be a better promotion of heavy infantry and like heavy weapons, as opposed to just medium weapons being a jack of all trades. And they also have something called objective scoring, as opposed to objective secured that they used to have, which I believe is sort of meant to give certain units a better ability to hold objectives and get more points out of them, as opposed to just having one tiny little unit in your backline just hump the objective. Also, those combat patrol boxes they've been really pushing, those are going to effectively serve as starter kits, where you can just buy one, assemble it, and shoot right into the game off the bat, which again is really good, because when people are building their army, a lot of them don't really know where to start or what to do first. This gives them a really clear way to exactly get into it. This, in my mind, is all preparation for the show coming out, starring Henry Cavill, because they believe that's going to bring in a lot of new people into the fandom and into the hobby, which, yeah, that's great. I'm excited to see the first novel come out featuring the Lion. That's going to be so cool. We got those new Terminators that everyone's been waiting for, new updated Apothecaries, updated Flamers, in a really cool 3D animated trailer. It's great, guys. This was just a really great one. Who knows what they're going to have at Warhammer Fest later this year. And I think that's all I have to say on the matter. I'm still so shaken even this morning from seeing the Lion return, seeing his awesome new model, and just speculating where that's gonna go, knowing he's gonna fight Angron, that's gonna be such a battle for the ages, and seeing the first precursors to 10th edition come out, and hearing about that. I'm really excited, and I would imagine you all are too. So stay tuned, I'll see you in the next video.